Let's begin. But I'll warn you now, this video will not comfort you, it won't coddle you, and it's certainly not what you want to hear. But it is what you need. Since the beginning, you've been taught to look outward, to search for someone to blame, to attach your pain to a face, to a name. And more often than not, that name is your mother's. But here's the truth no one dares to say. It's not your mother who still holds you back. It's what your mind did with her. This is not blame. This is not condemnation. This is truth. Raw, quiet, and deeply uncomfortable. Because the mother doesn't disappear when she leaves the room. She lingers inside you. You've tried to move forward. You've sought peace. But peace won't come when you're still locked in a war you don't even recognize. Do you know which war I'm talking about? The one waged not against a person, but against an image. A figure made not of flesh, but of shadow. An archetype. It entered you before you could form words, before you even knew who you were. And here's the cruel part. That shadow doesn't leave on its own. Carl Jung called it the mother complex. Not a label, not a diagnosis, but a prison. Invisible, emotional, relentless. It's the voice that scolds you without speaking, the hunger that no amount of love seems to satisfy, the endless craving for approval. And the hardest truth? It's not even yours, it's inherited, passed down, branded onto the soul before you had a chance to resist. So how do you heal something so deep, so hidden? This is where the real work begins. Because as long as you see your mother as all-powerful, whether you put her on a pedestal or drag her through the dirt, you're not seeing her. You're seeing a myth, a projection, a distorted echo built from unmet needs, silent wounds, and years of unspoken resentment. And that myth, it governs your life more than you'd like to admit. Every choice you make to earn approval, every relationship that crumbles because you expect someone to save you, every time you fail to set boundaries, the roots of all this run deeper than you think, back to a look that never came, a hug that never held you, a word that was never spoken. That's where it began, and that is where it must be faced. And now, here you are, an adult, but inside, still that child, still waiting for a voice to say, it's going to be okay. Here's the most brutal part. That voice is no longer coming, because healing is not getting her to change. Healing is finally stopping the wait for her to do so. And that's devastating. They told you forgiveness is the key, that if you understand her story, you'll free yourself, that if you walk in her shoes, the pain will dissolve. And yes, maybe, but not before the first, most painful truth. The wound is no longer hers to tend to. It's yours, only yours, and no one is coming to heal it for you. Let me ask you something. How many times have you caught yourself becoming her, saying what she used to say, doing what you swore you never would? There lies the trap. This isn't just emotional, it's behavioral. It lives in you, moves through you, and if you don't become conscious of it, you will become it. The complex repeats itself, again and again, until someone is brave enough to break it. But breaking it hurts, because it means killing a hope. The hope that one day, what wasn't will somehow be, that someone will come and make it right, that the child in you will finally be held. But childhood doesn't come back. The comfort you never received, you'll have to give it to yourself now. And the real question is this: are you willing? Are you ready to stop waiting to be loved the way you needed? And start loving yourself the way you deserve? Because that is the doorway. There is no other. In Jung's language, the mother isn't just the woman who gave you life. She's an archetype, a symbol. She represents origin, nourishment, safety. But she can also represent fear, dependence, the suffocation of your true self. And when that archetype isn't made conscious, it turns into a shadow, and you begin to project it onto your partners, your bosses, your friends. You expect them to save you, to understand you without words, to care for you unconditionally. But that's not love. That's lack. And lack isn't filled by someone else. It's filled by truth, by awareness, by the courage to face what was and what wasn't. The first step? Stop idealizing her. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't a goddess. But she also wasn't the monster you sometimes believe she was. She was human, wounded, carrying her own invisible battles. She did what she could, with what she had. And now, so must you. And sometimes, what she had to give was very little. That doesn't excuse the damage, but it does explain it. And in that understanding, something softens. Not as a performance of forgiveness, but as a quiet release, a liberation. Because idealization is just as poisonous as resentment. Both keep you stuck. Both keep you blind. Both pull you away from what is real. And the reality is this: you don't need a mother anymore. You need a stronger you, a more compassionate you, a more aware you. And that version of you won't appear by accident. You have to build it. Want to know how? Start by paying attention to your reactions. Every time you feel rejected, ask yourself, who am I really seeing? The person in front of me, or the wound I never tended to? Every time you crave unconditional love, ask, is it love I seek, or is it repair? Every time you abandon yourself to avoid being abandoned by another, ask, who left me first? This is the real work. It's not clean. It's not easy. It's not linear. Healing is a descent into the dark, into memory, into everything you buried just to survive. And sometimes that child inside you cries. Other times, it screams, it sabotages, it lashes out because it's been waiting too long to be heard. So hear it, really hear it. Don't drown it in motivational cliches. Don't cover it up with pretty quotes or polished mantras. Make space. Ask it what it needed. Then, give it to yourself. That is self-compassion. And no, it's not weakness. It's medicine. The only medicine that works when nothing else will. But it requires courage, because there's a part of you that's learned to hate itself, to judge itself, to punish itself, in the same way it was once punished by others. Break that cycle. Reparenting yourself isn't just reading another book. It's seeing yourself with new eyes. It's responding differently. It's recognizing when you're searching for mother in places that will never provide her. Because hear this clearly, the world will not give you what you didn't receive. It's not built for that. The world will demand from you. It will misunderstand you. It will pass you by. And in the middle of that chaos, you must choose to build yourself. Emotional freedom begins when you stop reenacting the same old story, when you choose a different response, when you remember you are no longer 5 years old. You are no longer trapped in that house. You no longer need a caress to validate your existence. You no longer need permission to be who you are. You are free now. And now, the real work begins. But there's still a part of you that believes it, that still hopes, that still quietly, desperately begs. That part isn't guilty, but it is your responsibility. Heal it, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, because if you wait for readiness, you'll wait forever. Healing doesn't arrive when life is calm and convenient. It shows up in the middle of noise, of chaos, of fear. And when it comes, it doesn't feel like light. It feels like loss, like emptiness, like silence. Because healing means letting go of the version of you you've known far too well. It's saying goodbye to the victim. It's stepping off the stage where you've waited for rescue. It's acting instead of aching. Does it hurt? Yes. But it hurts far more to stay where you are. So look. Really look at yourself. Ask, which part of my suffering still belongs to her? To the image of mother that lives in my mind? And how much longer will I let it define me? Make peace, not with her, but with yourself. Because in the end, the most important mother is not the one who raised you. It's the one you choose to become, for yourself. And that one has not yet been born. But now that you've come this far, now that you've dared to stare into what most refuse to see, let me take you deeper. Because there's a darker layer still, hidden, but powerful, invisible loyalty. Yes, loyalty. a bond you didn't choose, but one that grips you like a string tied to the soul. You can grow, you can read, you can sit in every therapist's chair, but if you don't see this, you'll always come back to the same place. Want to know the secret? Your unconscious believes that surpassing your mother is a betrayal. That's the trap. That's the prison. And don't try to reason it away. This isn't logic, it's emotional DNA. It's coded deep in your nervous system. You grew up believing your identity was fused with hers, that her suffering was yours to inherit, and without realizing it, you made a silent vow. I won't be freer than you. I won't succeed where you failed. I won't fully heal unless you do it first. Do you see it now? The prison disguised as love, a chain dressed up as devotion, a wound mistaken for loyalty. And it's that illusion, that sacred lie that must be broken if you ever want to be free. We're not talking about hate. We're not talking about anger. We're talking about something quieter, something more dangerous, an unconscious loyalty, a silent chain that binds you to her pain, her frustration, her limitations. That's why the same story keeps repeating. That's why, just when you're about to rise, you fall. Because somewhere inside, a voice whispers, if I'm happy and she wasn't, then I'm betraying her. But here's the brutal truth. Your pain doesn't honor her. Your stagnation doesn't save her. Your suffering doesn't fix what broke her. So why do you keep carrying what was never yours to hold? There's a scene playing out in thousands of wounded souls. The grown child still dimming their light, still holding back, so they won't overshadow a mother who's gone, or who was never really there. It's as if, deep down, you're still saying, look, Mom, I hurt too. You're not alone in your sadness. But that's what's killing you. Because the real betrayal isn't walking away from her story. It's living it over and over again. If you love her, truly love her, then hear this. To honor your mother is to surpass her, not out of rebellion, not from pride, but from evolution. She gave you life, not to shrink it, but to expand it, to turn her pain into awareness, her limits into freedom, her silence into voice. But that only happens when you break the vow, the secret vow you made before you even had words, the one that said, I won't be freer than you. Break that vow, not with rage, but with love. Tell her, even if she's gone, even if she'll never understand, thank you for what you could give me, but now I walk a different path. A path not of resentment, but of release. Because as long as you stay loyal to that hidden promise, you will live her life instead of your own. You will repeat her fears, her wounds, her guilt, her people-pleasing, her self-abandonment, her quiet ache to be enough. And you won't even realize it. Ask yourself, how many of your choices have been shaped by that shadow? Maybe that's why you shrink when things go well. Maybe that's why you chase partners who make you feel small. Not because you're weak, but because you're loyal. But that kind of loyalty comes with a cost. And the price is your life. And if you dare to question it, to stare it straight in the face, something shifts, a void opens, a silence you've never known before. Because for the first time, you're separating who you are from who she was. For the first time, you're saying, I am not you, and you are not me. And for the child you once were, that feels like abandonment. But for the adult you're becoming, that is birth. That's where it all begins. This isn't about cutting her off. It's not about blame or revenge. It's about redefining her place inside you. Because no matter who she was, the most loving, the most distant, the most absent, or the most suffocating, what matters now is not her. It's the place you gave her in your inner world. And if that place isn't reordered, it becomes one of two things, an altar or a prison. You either idolize her or you chain yourself to her. But both are illusions. Both distort the truth. Healing begins when you dare to dismantle that fantasy. And that fantasy wears many faces. The saint, the martyr, the perfect mother, the all-sacrificing protector, the ever-present shadow. But none of those are real. They're not her. They're myths, projections, narratives you built to survive. And those stories, they blind you to something essential, that she too was once a daughter. She too carried ghosts she couldn't name. She too was shaped by wounds, by silence, by limits she never asked for. She loved how she could. She failed as we all do. But you are not here to relive her fate. You are here for something greater, to transmute pain into presence, to turn unconscious patterns into conscious wisdom, to end the cycle so your children, if you have them or one day will, don't have to carry what you're carrying now. Because this is the true inheritance. Not heirlooms, not DNA, but unresolved pain, buried emotion, unspoken stories. And now here's the truth most never reach. You can't change the past, but you can change how the past lives inside you. Do it, not for her. Do it for you. You don't need to break with your mother. You need to break with the distorted image you've built around her. You need to silence the inner voice that shames you when you shine. You need to unlearn the guilt that shows up when you choose yourself. And that liberation, it's not against her. It's for you. Because the original wound, it's not your fate. What defines your life is what you do with it. So here's the final question. How much longer will you keep honoring a pattern that's already cost you too much? How much longer will you carry a story you didn't write, but one you've memorized as if it were your own? The time has come to stop dragging pain like a legacy, to stop surviving and start living. But to do that, you'll need one thing: courage. Courage to break with the loyalty that kept you small. Courage to rebuild yourself without the figure who gave you everything, or nothing at all. Courage to look in the mirror and say, now I am the one who takes care of me. And when you do, when you finally choose yourself, when you step out of the old narrative, then, and only then, do you truly honor her. Because the greatest tribute you can give to the one who gave you life is to live it. But just when you think you've let go, just when you feel the chains fall away, something subtler appears, something harder to name, more slippery, more silent, emotional self-abandonment. And yes, it's the shadow of that mother archetype still echoing inside you. Because what does a child do when love is conditional, when care is withheld? They adapt. They go quiet. They stop needing. They stop feeling. And that survival becomes your personality, your habits, your inner voice. Have you noticed how you speak to yourself? How you push yourself beyond your limits? How you punish your own softness? How you demand strength, silence, perfection? That isn't you. That's the continuation of a pattern you were never meant to carry this far. It's you abandoning yourself the same way you were once abandoned. But now, from the inside, and here's the hardest truth of all, no one is hurting you now. You're the one still doing it. Every time you deny your own need for rest, every time you downplay your pain, every time you betray your truth just to keep others comfortable, you're repeating the script. If I disappear emotionally, maybe they'll love me. You learn to survive by ceasing to exist inside. And that is a quiet kind of dying, an invisible erosion, a slow forgetting of who you were before the silence. You've become your own oppressor. The one who says, don't cry. The one who says, be strong. The one who keeps giving while you are slowly breaking. And the most twisted part? The more you abandon yourself, the more you ache for someone else to come and save you. But no one is coming. And maybe, just maybe, that's your liberation. Because once you realize that you are the one who left, then you can be the one who returns. To yourself, to softness, to presence, to love that doesn't require disappearing. But that day you're waiting for, when someone finally gives you the care you've always needed, it won't come. Not because you don't deserve it, but because no one can give you what you're still denying yourself. So here's the quiet revolution. Start taking care of yourself the way no one ever did. Become the mother you never had, the voice that comforts instead of criticizes, the presence that holds instead of withholds. Re-educate your heart from the beginning. Teach yourself what love actually feels like. Give yourself permission to feel without shame, to rest without guilt, to cry without explanation. Learn to speak softly when you're hurting, to stop demanding perfection when all you really need is kindness. And yes, at first it feels foreign, because for years you've lived under the rule of the whip, of pressure, of silence. But none of that was ever yours. It was programmed into you, downloaded from generations who also didn't know how to love themselves. Want to break the cycle? Ask yourself this simple question. How would I treat a child who just went through what I've been through? Would I tell them they're weak? Would I push them harder? Or would I kneel down, hold them close, and simply say, I see you, and I'm here? Now realize that child is you. Even now, even if you're 30, 40, 60, even if you've built walls around your heart, even if you smile like nothing hurts, that child is still inside, still waiting, but not for someone to rescue them, because no one is coming, not like you imagine. The healing doesn't come from finding the perfect savior. It comes from becoming the figure you always needed. And this is not mysticism, it's deep psychology. Carl Jung said, what is not made conscious will manifest in your life as fate. And here, that truth cuts deep. If you don't make your own abandonment conscious, you will replay it endlessly. In your relationships, in your work, in your choices. You will live chasing crumbs, aching to be chosen, starving for safety. And here's the paradox. You stop needing to be saved the moment you become your own shelter. Of course it's hard, because no one taught you how. They taught you how to achieve, to impress, to hide your wounds, but not how to sit with them, not how to embrace your shadows. And this brings us to a hidden layer, one most people never name, the negative inner mother. The voice inside that whispers, you're not enough, you're behind, you don't deserve this, don't feel that, don't need that, don't rest. That voice isn't you, but it speaks through you. And somewhere along the way, you mistook it for truth. You let it masquerade as conscience. But it's not your truth. It's a ghost, and it's time to send it home. And no, it's not you. It's an internalized figure, a distorted, inherited energy that's settled in the center of your self-worth, like a shadow pretending to be truth. And until you name it, until you dismantle it, you'll keep believing that your greatest enemy is yourself. But you're not the enemy. You're the echo of what you were taught, what you absorbed, what was modeled and never questioned. So how do you dismantle it? You listen to it. Yes, listen. Because what you resist persists, but what you meet with awareness transforms. The next time that voice appears, the one that tells you you're not enough, the one that whispers you're behind, too much, too late. Don't run. Don't silence it. Don't numb it with noise or fake affirmations. Sit with it. Look it in the eye and ask, where did you come from? Whose voice are you repeating? What are you protecting me from? And you'll begin to see the threads, not illusions, but origin stories. A lineage of pain passed down because no one knew how to heal it. And in that moment, a quiet clarity breaks through. Not bliss, not fireworks, just truth, raw and necessary. You'll realize you've been living inside a borrowed narrative, one that was never yours to carry. And the second you question it, you take your power back. That is the real awakening. Not through mantras, not through gurus, but in that silent choice to stop being the echo of your childhood and become the author of your adult life. But don't mistake this for false positivity. This isn't about bypassing pain or pretending you're okay. This is about responsibility, radical, tender responsibility. It's about seeing yourself without filters, about no longer outsourcing your healing, about becoming the one who finally fills the emptiness with real, conscious presence. Need a place to start? Here. Don't abandon yourself when it matters most. When you're tired, don't punish, rest. When you're sad, don't dismiss, stay close. When you're afraid, don't shrink, listen. That's the new language. That's the new inner mother. A structure born not from duty or sacrifice, but from awareness. It's how we break centuries of inherited pain. Not with grand gestures, but with quiet revolutions. I know, this can feel overwhelming, immense, but here's your reminder. You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to do it differently. Because if you don't break the cycle, no one will do it for you. The change you long for doesn't begin outside. It begins in each small moment you choose not to abandon yourself. Every time you draw a boundary, even when your voice shakes. Every time you say no to what drains you, so you can finally say yes to what nourishes you. That is the real act of love. And whether you realize it or not, that is an act of revolution. Because in a world that teaches you to compete, to compare, to punish yourself for simply being human, choosing tenderness is rebellion. To look at your inherited story and say, with me, it ends. Not out of pride, not because you're stronger, but because you chose to wake up. And once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. Not even guilt can lull you. Not even the voice that once froze you in place. Because now you no longer walk trying to be loved. You walk as love. You move from a different place, a deeper root, not one built on sacrifice, performance, or need, but one built on presence, on truth, on boundaries born from self-respect. A new kind of love, the kind you always needed, the kind that says, I see you, I choose you, I will not abandon you. And that, even if it doesn't look like much on the outside, is the greatest inheritance you can pass on. When you reach this place, something within you has already shifted. No one needs to tell you. You feel it, that strange, quiet tremor, the vibration that follows after finally facing what you spent a lifetime avoiding. It's the feeling of shedding, of release, of standing in the ruins of your old self and not wanting to go back. Yes, it's messy. Yes, it's grief and power tangled together. Because what you're mourning is not just your past. It's the illusion of who you thought you had to be. And what's born in its place is not applause, not transcendence, just silence. A silence that feels clean, like truth. Like a room finally cleared of all the noise you never asked to inherit. Now you understand why it was so hard to rest in your own skin, why your peace always felt out of reach. You were inhabited by voices that weren't yours, needs that weren't native, wounds that didn't begin with you. But that stops now. What remains is yours, your space, your voice, yourself. And here's the quiet miracle. It's not that the wounds vanish, it's that for the first time, you carry them with awareness. And that changes everything. Because the wound itself isn't the enemy. The enemy is denial, the pretending, the silence that keeps the pain festering. But when you face it, when you name it, when you let it breathe, it softens. And somewhere in that softness, something is born. Your emotional adulthood. Not the kind that needs to control everything, not the kind that masks pain with stoicism, but the kind that knows. Inside you live both the broken and the brave, the one who still aches and the one who has learned how to stay. Both are you, both belong, and now you finally know how to hold them both. Do you know what this means? You've crossed the threshold, that point of no return, where you stop being a symbolic child of your past and become the symbolic mother or father of your present. You no longer live from what was missing. You live from what you choose to create. And that kind of power, it's rare, because it demands courage, brutal honesty, and a fierce, untamed will to let go. Let go of excuses, of justifications, of inherited fears, and begin to live from inside yourself. Not as an echo of some ancient story, but as the author of your own life. Now that you know this, what will you do with it? Because here the video ends, but the real work begins. The invisible part, the part no one else will see, but you will feel. Every day, in every choice, in every moment you treat yourself differently, every time you refuse to repeat the pattern, every time you choose from awareness, not from lack, that you, even if no one applauds it, is freedom, a freedom money can't buy. So here's one last thought. Maybe it sums it all up, but in new words, a phrase to carry, to repeat, to tattoo on your soul. When self-love rises from healed pain, it stops being a trend and becomes a silent revolution. If you've made it this far, declare it in the comments. I want to know who sees and who dares to feel every word. Right below, I am the end of the pattern. Because if you stayed until now, You are no longer the same. You've seen what others won't even dare to look at. And if this shook you, made you think, awakened some sleeping part inside, subscribe. Not for me, for you. Because here, we don't entertain egos. We awaken consciousness. And this journey, it's just beginning. So turn on that bell. What's coming? It will hurt, but it will free you. See you in the next video. Or maybe not. Maybe you'll just find yourself in the echo of these words. Either way, you're awake now. And that, my friend, there is no turning back. Go. Do something that scares you just a little. Talk to yourself like you never have before. Stay silent. Cry if you must, or just look at yourself without judgment for 10 seconds. 10 seconds. That's enough to start. Because when you change the way you treat yourself, the world changes the way it responds to you. And if you don't believe it, try it. But try it from that place, the deep place where you no longer need anyone to save you. Because now you know the Savior was you all along. Until then, may the world tremble when you finally live free, free from repeating what once broke you. See you soon, or maybe you'll be too busy rebuilding yourself. Either way, I'm glad you made it. Until here, until you, until now.